Hey everyone, and welcome. We're about to dive into an idea that's so fundamental it pretty much hides in plain sight. The absolutely wild power of our words to do way more than just describe the world, but to actually create it. We usually think of language as just a tool for labeling stuff that's already there. We see a tree, we say the word tree. Simple, right? But what if that's not even half the story? What if words are less like labels and more like blueprints? Less like a mirror reflecting what is, and more like a hammer, actively building the reality we experience every single day. That's the huge idea we're going to unpack together. Okay, so to really get our heads around this, let's start with this core metaphor that kind of frames the entire conversation. When it comes to reality, are our words a mirror or are they a hammer? And here's the thing, it's both. Of course, words reflect reality. That's the mirror part, we get that. But the crucial piece, the one we so often miss, is that they also act as a hammer, shaping what's to come and literally constructing the future. So let's bring this down to the most personal scale imaginable, the reality that's happening right now inside your own mind. For centuries, poets just knew this. They understood that the right words could completely change our perception, could teach us how to feel. And now, well, modern psychology and neuroscience are basically confirming it. The language we use, especially the stuff we say to ourselves, acts like a command prompt for our brain. And this programming, man, it starts so early. A child who is told they are gifted starts to see a world filled with possibilities. But a child labeled worthless can internalize that one single word, and it can become a self-fulfilling prophecy. Just one word, creating two entirely different life paths. And this doesn't just stop when we're kids. That internal monologue you have running all day, that's the software you are actively installing in your own psyche. Telling yourself, I am resilient, isn't just some fluffy positive thought. No, it's a command that literally strengthens the neural pathways for coping and for persistence. This leads to a really profound insight about who we are. Your self, your identity, it's not some solid fixed thing you go out and discover. It's a story you are constantly writing and rewriting with the words you choose about your past, your present, and your future. This is exactly why practices like therapy can be so incredibly transformative. At its heart, healing is really the process of becoming an editor of your own story. It's about fighting those destructive words, the I always fail, the I am not enough, and deliberately replacing them with words that heal and empower. You're literally reauthoring your own life. All right, so let's zoom out a bit, because this creative power of words, it doesn't just build our own little inner worlds, it builds our entire shared social reality. Philosophers have a great term for this, a speech act. And it's basically any time you say words that aren't just reporting on the world, they are actively performing an action that changes the world. Here are some perfect examples. When an officiant says, I pronounce you, the social reality between two people is instantly and permanently altered. Those words did something. The same thing is true for I forgive you or I resign. The world after those words are spoken is fundamentally different from the world a second before. And what all these speech acts build is the invisible architecture of our communities. They create the promises, the legal statuses, the moral obligations, and the personal bonds that hold an entire society together. Religious traditions have always understood this incredible power. A blessing spoken over someone isn't just a kind wish, it's seen as a force that can set the direction for a whole life. And on the flip side, a condemnation can inflict a wound so deep, it gets passed down for generations. Okay, let's expand the scale one more time, because words don't just build our inner lives and our communities, they build entire civilizations. This famous philosophical idea just gets right to the heart of it. We don't experience the world raw, we experience it through the concepts our language gives us. If you don't have a word for something, it's incredibly difficult to even think about it, let alone build a society around it. I mean, look at these. These are not just words in a dictionary, they are the huge, foundational categories that organize our entire reality. How a society defines justice or freedom determines its laws. How it defines us versus them, well, that can determine its history of peace or conflict. And this is absolutely crucial to understand. Naming has never been a neutral act. Throughout history, the power to name has been the power to dominate. Renaming lands, relabeling people, defining violence as security, this is how language is used to control outcomes. This process right here shows you how a nation is literally spoken into existence. It's not born from walls, it starts with myths and stories. Those stories give birth to ideals. Those ideals are then written into law, and only then are borders drawn on a map. The linguistic reality always comes first. So after seeing how words construct reality on every single level, from our own psyche all the way up to civilization, we land on the most important question. What does this mean for you? Let's recap the entire engine in one clear sequence. It starts with words. The words we use shape how we perceive the world. That perception then hardens into belief. Our beliefs then drive our actions. And finally, our collective actions create the reality we all share. This brings all this big abstract theory right into our daily lives. If every word we speak is a building block, if every conversation is an act of construction, it forces us to ask this incredibly important and personal question. And this is the final, crucial takeaway. You are not a passive commentator on life. With every word you say to your children, to your colleagues, and most importantly to yourself, you are an architect. You are actively, powerfully, and constantly speaking a world into being. Choose your words wisely.